Good morning from Rome. I am ready for another adventure around the city. Very excitingly, today is the day that the elusive Nick comes to join Ollie and me here in Rome. I'm going to go and see Ollie for breakfast now, and then actually it'll be time for Nick to join us really soon. Ollie and I are starting the day as we mean to go on, filled with delicious food.
Yes, I'm a creature of habit. I'm having eggs Benedict.
Again, and porridge again. We've become obsessed with porridge.
Yeah, but it's nice to get up and have that come down to this. It's a real treat.
Well, today turned into a little bit of an unexpected detour. I just had to go to the pharmacy. I had to have an online consultation with a doctor because my wisdom teeth have been really hurting. I've clearly got an infection in the gums around there. And I thought it was okay. But for the last 3 days, it's been getting worse. And then finally, today, when I realised at breakfast that all I could manage was porridge, I realised that this is now serious. I'm in Italy, and I can't even eat delicious Italian food. So I have antibiotics and mouthwash. Hopefully I'll get better. At least, hopefully it can be a tiny bit better tonight. Because tonight is our last meal in Italy, and goodness knows I want to be able to have pasta. And of course, more artichokes. My tooth and I have decided to go visit Villa Medici today. Ollie's going to have a rest in the hotel this morning, and then when Nick comes this afternoon, he'll join us and we'll all try to go out this afternoon. After a couple of days of discovering Rome's Epiphany traditions and going on a hunt for angels, today I want to go and see how patrons of the arts in the Baroque period displayed their art. It's just me and my wisdom tooth for company this morning. It's continually making me aware of its existence, so I've decided to see it as a nice companion, and I hope those antibiotics I took start kicking in really soon. Oh, this place is even more spectacular than I had imagined. This amazing villa was built in the 1570s for Cardinal Ferdinando de' Medici. He was the son of the great Cosimo I of Medici, the Grand Duke of Tuscany, but being only the fifth son in the family, he wasn't expected to reign in Florence, so he was made a cardinal at the age of 13. He moved to Rome and built this spectacular villa to house his treasures, and you didn't have to go inside to see them, you could already see them on the outside. Because do you see what looks like plaster plaques all over the front? Well, they're not plaster, they are original ancient Roman sculptures. Because Ferdinando had a rather wonderful hobby. He liked employing people to dig all over his lands to try to find classical treasures. And he brought all of them here and amassed them onto the facade of the building. They're a mismatch of stories. There's scenes from history, there's classical myths, so together they don't tell a coherent story, but they're made to look coherent by the use of framing them all in the same way. And the story that they tell is that the man who lives here is a man of immense wealth and power. The interiors would have been filled with just as many treasures as well, but in fact, Ferdinando did become the Grand Duke of Tuscany on his brother's death at the age of 38, and he took his treasures with him back to the Uffizi, and many of them can still be seen there today. 3 of the sculptures that used to be here are shown together there: the Uffizi Venus, the wrestlers, and the knife sharpener. But although his treasures are gone, we can still go inside and see his apartments and imagine them filled as they would have been back then. This villa is clearly no longer lived in by the Medicis. In fact, since the early 19th century, it has been owned by the French government. They award a prize to several artists each year to come and spend an entire year in Rome working on their art. Amongst the composers, Debussy and Berlioz both composed here. The painters include Ingres, and long before them, even Galileo stayed in this villa. It has had the most illustrious residence. As soon as we walk in, we see the huge statue of Louis XIV. The French are definitely marking their territory here. And as we go through, you'll also see some contemporary pieces mixed in, because of course the artists that have been coming here in residency are leaving some of their beautiful work as part of the permanent collections. And now let's go and explore the gardens that have inspired so many great artists. And if we just head to the view first, you'll see why. Can you imagine anywhere more inspirational to work on creativity, with Rome literally spread out before you? From here you can see all of the domes, the towers, the churches that we've been exploring for the last few days, and you can see that we have really just scratched the surface. And now we're going to go along these beautiful pathways to find a perfect Renaissance study that has recently been completely restored in the gardens of this villa. I think it's the jewel of the entire villa. This is the garden pavilion where centuries of artists studying here have kept the plaster copies that they've made of ancient sculptures. But what I love the most is the sight that greets you as you arrive at the pavilion from the garden. I feel that someone has to have put this statue here entirely on purpose. When the artists who live here are on their way to breakfast, they see a good bottom shot first thing in the morning. Oh my goodness, I have just realised that our peacocks do not have a pretty enough place to perch. They are loving this. Oh, and I can even, as though we're back at Lalande, give you an excellent peacock bottom shot. Oh my goodness, he's turned around. Gosh, the crowd goes wild. Oh, they are beautiful. This is making me miss Lalande. Look, the little one's copying Daddy as well. I vow now to our peacocks, we will do something like this in the Jardin Langlaise. Sorry, Davy, but you can see how much the peacocks love it. At this point, I would just like to say, look, everyone at Lalande, we do not have too many peacocks. In fact, we don't have enough peacocks or statues. That was incredible, and I'm so amazed because actually what I loved most about it is the way that they had mixed contemporary furniture and art into this beautiful Renaissance space. And although I only glimpsed it on my tour through an open door, the yellow sofa, oh my goodness, I'm obsessed with that yellow sofa. It looked incredible in that space. Right, putting thoughts of the beautiful yellow sofa from my mind, we're going to go for lunch. I still don't think I can eat there, which is annoying. Maybe a bit of soup. I have walked so much over the last 3 days, it's unbelievable. So I'm making sure that I pop back to the hotel for a little rest occasionally. But whilst I am here today, I'm carrying on with my daily practice of using Brilliant, and I'm very lucky because they have kindly offered to sponsor today's video with this ad. For those of you who don't know Brilliant, it teaches you maths, science, coding, AI, things like that, things that I thought I was absolutely terrible at and had a complete mental block about because I'm much more in the arts and in literature. I think it's incredibly important to learn a little bit every day and to keep your mind working. And so when I'm in somewhere like Rome and I'm wandering around museums, my mind can make connections between the different artists, between the works of art that I'm seeing. And that's because I keep learning, I keep using my mind, I keep trying to push myself so that I can make connections like that. And that's where Brilliant comes in. It actually just helps your critical thinking and it helps your problem solving skills. So it helps in every single aspect of daily life. To try Brilliant for yourself for a full 30 days for free, click the link in the description box below or scan the QR code on the screen or go to brilliant.org/the Chateau Diaries, and you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. And now I better get back to my gears and finish this section before going back out because we're going to explore the Galleria Borghese this afternoon. Okay, I've done my mental exercises and I've had a power nap. I am ready for the Villa Borghese. So ready. I just need shoes. Nick's just arrived. I'm running down to meet him in the lobby.
I think this is perking me up.
This is going to help, isn't
Look at
it?
this, isn't that beautiful?
It's so beautiful. Fried artichoke, carrying on with the artichoke theme. I mean, I have no idea whether I'll be able to eat it or not, but I'm happy looking at it.
Lovely.
I'll be able to eat Nick's even if I can't eat mine. Octopus carpaccio. Look at this. So the whole artichoke's been deep fried.
Very tasty.
Must be nice to have working teeth for this one. I've slightly lost the power of speech now, but these little bits at the end are like crisps. So delicious. You would never think that an artichoke could be turned into a crisp like this. So good. Oh, I'm battling on because it tastes too nice not to. I so nearly ordered that, Ollie. Instead, I went for prawns and caviar on spaghetti.
I'll give you a bite.
And you're going for ossobuco. Nick's being very expressive off camera. He looks very excited by his meal. Enjoy. So this all gets mixed in.
The prawns and we need
Wow.
to mix everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah. With the caviar.
It looks so good.
Now it's ready.
Thank you.
It's a revisitation of the classic pasta like garlic, olive oil, and just pepper.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
I'm now eating Stephanie's meal over my plate.
any good?
And I'm no way away from eating now.
There's a lot of saffron in that.
Yes, that would be undignified to eat spaghetti on while being filmed.
Okay, sorry, I shall look down. This is a modesty look down whilst Ollie eats that. How did that go?
Superb.
I never thought I would think a crispy biscotti was such a challenging object. Here we go. Is it good? That's delicious. The right side of my mouth enjoyed it very much. I am now following two of the most elegant gentlemen in Rome up the stairs to the Villa Borghese. Which makes it sound as though it's just at the top of the stairs, but I think the garden is at the top of the stairs, but the villa is a 25-minute walk beyond that. We're standing in the extraordinary home of Scipione Borghese, possibly history's most determined art collector, who, let's say, had some creative methods of getting the paintings that he wanted. On the one hand, Scipione was one of the world's greatest patrons of the arts. He was Bernini's patron. In fact, this is Bernini's sculpture of the man himself. And in this gallery are several of Bernini's greatest masterpieces. My favourite is Daphne and Apollo. You can see that Daphne is running away, desperate to evade the advances of Apollo, though I have to say, looking at Apollo, I might have made a different decision myself. But she wants none of his advances and is so desperate to flee him that she prays to her father, the river god, to save her, and he transforms her into a tree just at the moment that Apollo reaches her. You can see her hair and even her fingers have already started to become branches. And here's Bernini's Pluto and Proserpina. This is the exact moment that Pluto is abducting her. For centuries, people looking at this statue have been astonished by the way Pluto's fingers leave indentations in Proserpina's soft thigh. It seems unbelievable that this is carved from marble. But sometimes Borghese wanted pieces that were not on the market, and that's when things got tricky. This is Domenichino's Diana. Borghese was absolutely desperate to own it, but Domenichino had already promised to sell it to another cardinal. So what does a determined art collector do at a moment like that? Apparently there was only one thing for it. He had Domenichino imprisoned. And it turns out that after a few days in prison, Domenichino suddenly changed his mind and said just how much he'd love to sell it to Cardinal Borghese. And here it still is, all these centuries later. This villa was specifically designed to show off his treasures. The architecture is part of the artistic whole, and walking through these rooms, you feel that you're bathing in beauty. You're breathing beauty into your very lungs. Borghese's methods of collecting were certainly questionable, but the collection that he amassed has brought indescribable joy to millions of people since his death. Now we're off to see the final great collector's villa of the day. Love the decorations of the Fendi store. Huge baubles everywhere. On our way, I thought I'd show you this little bear with his little hat. just because I find him cute. I've come with Ollie and Nick to Galleria Spada. It's in the Palazzo Spada, a beautiful 16th century palace. And there is a museum in there, but we haven't come for the museum. We've come for a very special corridor in this beautiful courtyard with gorgeous orange trees. You will see there is a corridor going off to a lovely statue. Is there a statue at the end? We can barely see from here, can we? Can you see into the distance? I mean, I haven't got my glasses on at the moment, so I barely can. Oh yes, there it is, in that gorgeous garden at the back with hedges. But wait, it's entirely an optical illusion. This corridor seems to be approximately 30 odd metres long. In fact, it's 8.
Borromini created this optical illusion for Cardinal Spada.
It's his family's collection upstairs in the galleries. It's unbelievable. We have the whole place to ourselves. It's extraordinary. It's like having our very own Renaissance palazzo for the afternoon. But this is the most playful part of the entire palazzo, and I think easily my favourite part. What to do if you want to give the impression of a huge palazzo garden, but you're not in the countryside, you're in the middle of Rome. The floor slopes up, the ceiling slopes down, the columns get smaller as they get towards the back, and what appears to be a life-size statue at the back is only 60 centimetres tall. You go, you 60-centimetre god. You look majestic. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Welcome to the Rome trip, Nikki.
Welcome.
It's a long time since the three of us were on holiday.
We've done all sorts of trips. We've done the Lake District.
Cornwall.
We've done Scotland, Northumbria,
Normandy.
south of France, and also we've done Cornwall.
And now Roma.
Exactly.
Cheers.
20 years later.
What's going to be next after Rome for the three of us?
Bhutan.
I like it. To Bhutan.
Yeah, to Bhutan. Cheers.
Nick thinks he's joking.
We're walking through the streets of Rome trying to find tonight's restaurant, and I'm desperately hoping that I will manage to eat a little bit of spaghetti this evening.
Artichoke, Roman chicory with anchovy sauce, mozzarella with bottarga, and chickpea soup on the way.
PC, yes, I've taken the healthy option.
That's absolutely huge. I don't think I can show quite how big it is on the vlog. That's my hand. It's taller than my hand.
It's enormous, isn't it? Enormously healthy as well, I think.
Ollie has been craving macaroni cheese for weeks now. This is as close as you're going to get in Italy. It's good.
It's my favourite meal in the whole world.
It does look really
Let
good.
me taste it.
So going to hit the spot? And Nick and I have managed to order, I think, what's both of our favourite pasta dishes, except for alla vongole, which I also really love. This is just spaghetti aglio olio and ciglio. Cheers, Ollie.
Cheers.
Cheers, elusive one.
I can't believe our trip to Rome is at an end. It's going to be very hard for me to leave this city, but I'm so excited to see Philip, Galahad and everyone back at Lalande. But I'm not going straight home. As you'll see in Thursday's video, all being well, I'll be going back to Lalande via Spain with Ollie. So I look forward to you all joining us on that adventure, and until then, à jeudi.